Okay, so the next part of the assembly is the arms of the V Gundam. And here are all the parts that I have ready, painted and done. We gotta be very careful with these parts because they're very small, they're very fragile, and they could break. First up is this part, which is the shoulder assembly. So first things first, we're going to need this part here, and you get this little hole here, which will represent this part of the trim. So you slide it right through until and make sure you go all the way, so it looks like that. Also, this has to be in the bottom. Make sure of that. And this part here is the shoulder trim part, which will go right here, like that. Next up, it's these shoulder plates that I painted. I actually put these two parts together and painted it. So you see there's the flip side, and then you have this part here, but this is a bit tricky. This is the inside armor of the side armor plate. You would think that it goes like this, like that. Wrong. Technically speaking, this part has to be here. And I'm putting this on first because I accidentally broke the other part, the inside support, while I was pulling it out, realizing I did it wrong. I was able to repair the damage, but I'm not going to do this again where I'm going to make a mistake. So be careful with these. Even I have a distinct feeling that every time I paint parts, they're a little bit more fragile now, since they now have more chemical and more structure. You know, even though the structural integrity of the part has been reinforced, it's still a thin part, so it will have a little bit of stress in it. So I'm putting on the inside armor, inside frame first, and then I'm going to put this one on. So it looks like this. Hopefully you guys can see this. There we go. And it has to be like that for a reason. And that reason is a part that I'm looking for. Here it is. These two parts here, bend it if you can. Of course, the paint is that's not a good thing. When the paint is a little too much. There we go. So it looks like this. Now, let's see here. We're gonna need this part, and then this part slides down like this. Now, there are these two clamps here, and you want to get them into the grooves here. So be careful what you do. There we go. So it snaps into place, like so. There. So the shoulder assembly is done. Now, the next part would be this part here. This has already been pre-done, except I'm going to need this little part here, and this part is important. This goes like that, so it looks like this. Then I've already pre-done this assembly by putting these two parts on, so that way I can spray paint both. And then I'll slide them on using the guide here. Make sure it goes all the way in, like that. Okay. This, of course, I have the opportunity. Not opportunity, but there's another part that has to go in there, which I got where to put it. Oh, here it is. This is actually the beam saber hilt. Just stick it in there and then seal it up. I have a strange feeling I'm going to have a hard time pulling the hilt out. Anyway, the next part of the assembly is this guy. And this one is a bit tough. Ooh, here we go. Ah, you see, this is what I was afraid of. And actually it had to be caught on camera. The whole assembly broke off. Shit. Fuck. I can't believe that. Well, I don't know if it's a total loss. Alright. I'll be right back while I glue these parts together. Okay, right now I just applied a little bit of glue on this and I'm waiting for it to dry, so it's going to take some time for this to kick in. While I'm waiting for this, I'm actually going to prepare a few other parts here just to get out of the way. For starters, we have the right arm, which requires us to put the thumb through here. And then we have this part, which is specifically the arm guard, the hand guard, excuse me. It goes like that. Then we have this part here, which goes like that. Then there's another guard here that goes like this. Actually, no, hang on a second. Oh, God. Flip it over and do it the opposite direction. There we go. So this is supposed to look like this. And then before I assemble this one, of course, this part goes like this here through the railing system, through this type of railing. So it looks like that. Somewhat. Alright. There are other parts to work with, but let's pause for a moment and hopefully the structure integrity of these two little parts that snapped off will allow me to assemble the arm. Alright, I think it's structurally sound right now. I think. And but it's clear to me that I'm gonna have some problems with this part. I'll just stay right there for a second. I just need to review this before I do something stupid. I know for a fact that that has to go here, and that's broken off, but I can't even find the other part. So I'm just gonna have to figure a way how to jimmy rig it. Alright, so I will apply a light pressure, please don't break. There we go. Align it properly. Then we have this part here. Alright. Then this part goes here. Oh, there's... wow, this... I have to admit, this... I'll comment on this in a moment. Now I carefully grab this snap the, oh no, 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 no. Alright. Snap that into place. Please get in there. Good. This one goes all the way up like that because it represents the other part of the arm. Like this. This one stays there for a specific reason. It's because of this guy. And I think it's this way. Shit. It's things like these that I get a little frustrated to the point where now I have to say to myself, do I try to recover it as best as I possibly can, or do I just jury rig it to a point where it's going to be stuck and not being moved ever again? I don't know if I did this. I know that's something like that, but oh, I see. I remember. I remember what I had to do. There's two things here. There we go. Alright, now I remember. And then stick that in there. Alright. Maybe we'll use this as a guide. So, connect that again. Alright, I'm making a decision right here, right now. It is obvious this mobile suit will not be transforming, but I need to get this done. There we go. So we have that there. And then we have this. How did it, what position this was? I think this way, right? Like that. And this will simulate actually a good grip on this, followed by this part here. And then that one comes here. And then we have this blue trim part that goes right there. This blue trim part that goes like that. And then we have the shoulder part that goes here. There we go. So, the arms of the Victory Gundam are now complete. Sans the fact that this one has a handicap and it's not going to bend properly. I run the risk of many things here, but this is actually one of the most disappointing parts of this build, when the actual structure integrity of a part that is necessary for its movement gets permanently damaged like this. I think this is the reason why I was trying to sell this kit in the past, because I was reading a lot of negativity on this kit, on how fragile and how small it is. It's not in no way, shape, or form the fault of Bandai. It's the fact that even if it's a master grade, the mobile suit itself is a smaller design feature. I would accept it if they would have made a perfect grade kit, because there the structure integrity of the parts will be stronger, much more robust. But something like this, where the parts come out and break like this is a bit disappointing. So I understand this. I understand this completely. If anybody plans to get this kit, I strongly recommend you do not paint this kit, because I've also made the mistake of painting this part with the inner frame, and that's where it caused its strength, where it's actually stuck to the remaining parts of the kit, and of course it broke. I've always done this all the time, where I painted the inner frame even with the parts together. The only problem is I never had a problem where the parts broke off. I know now that it will break off on this part, on these kits, on this type of kit, because of the size. Again, it's a master grade kit, but if you look at these arms, it's like looking at high grade kits. It's basically the size of high grade arms. I'm going to take a moment to look at the leg portions and other parts that needs to be moved, and make sure that the movement is not restricted due to the strengthening of the paint, which of course will break off the part. I may have to thin it out a bit and get some thinner, and then we'll see what happens. So let's move on to the next build of this fairly fragile kit.